There you are.
Yes.
I
was just going to say it may not be a bad thing getting me on the screen. 8 o'clock.
No. It's a great thing. Dude, the hair's looking sharp. Like, that's the kind of early morning thing that I go for. We're
Not
both
as sharp as
unshaven.
yours, mate. I see you've had a haircut.
Yeah, dude. What a shocker. I'm so glad, man. It was getting in my mouth when I was trying to eat, and I look like a hippie. And once you become ponytail guy, you know it's over. Like, I was ponytail guy at work, and I was like, this isn't me, man. So that's what happened there. But let's see what we're gonna do. Let's go into it, dude. I got a slide, and I don't know if y'all can see that. And if in the upper right, it's the Barreled Surf podcast. And that's what T-Bone does. Tell us about the Barreled Surf podcast, T-Bone, and where you guys do this. I love this.
So we're basically based in the Yallingup area. There's three of us. There's myself, Namu, and Adzi, and we record out of a tin shed in Yallingup. So it's just basically three mates talking absolute shite about surfing, and we're all frothers, and we love to have a few beers and a few wines. Speaking of beers, Cheeky Monkey Beers in Forrester Estate, if you're in the Margaret River region.
Yeah, sweet, man. I think that you guys, I can tell, love surfing as much as I do because I've listened to the podcast, and it's great. And Jesse, welcome to the show, dude. I'm so stoked to have you. So anyway, if you look at the screen, you will see all kinds of images from Bells Beach, and we kind of do a. I'm going to unmute Heidi. We kind of do a you and a spew, a you. And Heidi has the sound effects for me on this show. Stand by, it's worth it. Maybe it's not. We're having all kinds of technical stuff going on today. Anyway, here we are looking at Bells, and I see a couple things straight away. Speaking of podcast and great shows, I really enjoyed the Bells event for one reason, and that was Ronnie and Vaughn Blakey. They absolutely crushed it, man. It was so good to have their perspective. It just made it fun, man. I really enjoyed that broadcast. Now, there's other things that were spew that we're going to get to. What stands out to you, T-Bone, and what you liked about the Bells broadcast?
Well, it just takes all that corporate bullshit out, and it just brings a real surf core vibe to it. You know, you've got two absolute frothing brothers that love surfing, and they know how to articulate in the commentary booth, alongside with Richie Lovett. I mean, it's just people can just relate to surfers commentating surfing. It's epic. I loved it.
Yeah, same. And I think you brought up Richie Lovett, and I wanted to switch to a moment, which was, I think it was the semifinals when Griffin Colapinto was up against Rio Waida. And there was that controversial call. I don't know if you saw this. Controversial in the sense that Rio absolutely ripped this wave, and he should have had a higher score. And it was the best wave of the heat, I thought. And Richie Lovett was kind of like, yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. And he was right, man. Like, there were some controversial calls, which we're going to jump into in a second. But did you see that heat, T-Bone?
Yeah, was that I actually watched it yesterday because I had a funny feeling we might talk about it. Yeah, I did watch it, mate. If you're talking about, was it Rio's first wave or last wave?
I think it was the last one. He got it all the way through, and they're like, oh, he doesn't have quite the power and everything that Griffin did. And don't get me wrong, Griffin's absolutely ripping right now. Griffin is at the top of his game, I think. But Rio had one really good wave that I enjoyed it. And I mean, he hit it hard. He was, blowing out the tail and extensions. And that kid has so much. I don't know. He reminds me of whenever I'm in Bali, there's like 20 guys who are so good at surfing. You're like, these guys are all pros, and he takes that to the next level even.
Yeah, I know the wave now. I'm surprised it didn't go into the excellent level. I don't even think he even got an 8 for it. I think it was like the high 7s.
Yeah, exactly. I think 7.7 or something like that. It should have easily been an 8. As I was watching it, and I was like, that's an 8. and it came back shallow. And I think, and Richie Lovett called it out. It was good that I think the WSL has gotten looser, and maybe they have to for the Australian market, which rolls over to us. That's what we want too. We want authentic, real surf talk. We don't want this whitewash bullshit. And I'm not saying that Joe Turpel does that all the time, but he's a corporate guy, and he's gonna run the positive noise, is what I've heard it called. And it just gets tiring, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Dana White as the president of the UFC, and what a straight shooter he is. He just doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Right.
And then you look at his commentators, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier. I mean, surfing should take a leaf out of
Sure.
Dana White, how he does business. Like, you've got people that are absolute frothing mad, UFC fighters. Let's put people that are frothing mad surfers, in charge of the Wazzle and commentating the Wazzle.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, that was a highlight. I love that kind of thing. The low light, I think, was just straight up the waves. They've struggled, and I read somewhere some of the comments on some of your Aussie. I think it was on Swellnet. They're like, I think the Wazzle is being followed by a high pressure system all around the world.
Oh man,
it was brutal, and there was there was things of that nature. Like, they do seem to strike out. And dude, we're going to talk about the forecast in a second, but like, it's hard to find Margaret River small, and we might have just done it with the Wazzle high pressure system.
Yeah, I know.
But any lowlights for you? Anything that were spew in the U and spew?
For bells, mate?
Yeah, for bells. Sorry.
Oh, I mean, yeah, obviously the surf conditions didn't stack up to what we love to see. I mean, the first day looked good. In the U, it's good to see. I rather see the Californians above the Brazilians, so that's a big U. I mean, spew, just the dummy spit. I mean, we'll probably talk about it later, but the dummy spit of certain surfers when they lose. And then on the flip side, you listen to the people that won the actual heat, and the amount of respect, and yeah, that was.
You're bringing up a hot topic, T-Bone. You're bringing up a hot topic, and I think we need to talk about it. And it's probably this heat. I want to tell you how hot this was. And maybe you're not talking about this, but I think we should break into it. And I don't want to spend the whole show. We could spend a whole show on this, but I don't want to. I just want to give it a quick chat, because I put this up. So after it happened, I didn't even know it happened. I saw it on my phone. I was just coming home, and my friend Taylor from the Survival League had put it on his Instagram, and I rushed home and saw it, and I immediately made a video. And it's late at night here, and I put the thing up, and the next day there's like 20,000 views on the thing, and the comments are blowing up. There's hundreds of comments, and just today I cut this out. It's 43,000 views, and there's like 800 comments. And the thing that I liked about it was that the comments are pretty. I mean, there's no. They're friendly. They're not, FU and Brazil versus the world and all that kind of stuff. These were deep comments of, like, from judges, and I'm not doing a really good. I say go in and check it out. I'm not doing a great explanation here, but I think they were even keeled comments. I like the discourse in that, and I thought there was some good descriptions. And the last thing I'm going to say about it is, I still can't decide, and I'm going to tell you my take after I hear what you say about it.
Ooh.
Oh, you there?
Yeah, mate. Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
No. I think I just wanted to hear what your take was on this heat.
Well, going back to all your comments, the OSD crew are a respectful bunch, right? So
Mm,
that's good to see.
I think so, and I'm grateful for that. Are you losing
So
me?
yeah, now you're back, mate. Yeah. So I actually had to watch this a couple of times.
Mm,
I watched it yesterday again. So there's a few variables here. I thought Cole was going a lot more 12 o'clock than Gabby, whereas I thought Gabby did a lot of rock and roll floaters as sort of set up to a major maneuver. So that's what I thought the judges liked. Maybe Cole was just getting it more vertical, big spray. And whereas Gabby was setting up his major turns, maybe he could have done a little bit more instead of doing little lip glide, little rock and roll floaters. But I think Gabby giving the heat away, giving Cole that last wave was a major error.
for sure.
And I think Gabby's got to now go back because I saw him on the first day and I thought he was a standout. Like when it's
Mhm.
overhead Bell's bowl, he's as good as anyone. He's in the top three easy. But I think doing that little punt and pump into an air rotation is not going to give you the big scores. You need to link up a few more turns. So yeah, I thought Cole won. Now I look back and I
Hmm.
thought Cole won and probably deserved to win. Yeah, that was my take, mate.
I think that I agree with some of that, and some of it I don't. And I think Cole probably made better wave choices. I'll represent the Gabby side for a second. I walked away from that heat, or when the heat was over, I was a little surprised that Gabby lost the heat. I was like, Gabby won that heat. He was faster. His setup moves down the line were to keep up with a winky pop wave that is going faster than I think anyone else could have caught. And Gabby caught up with it. I thought his turns were not more crisp, but they definitely they threw spray as well. And I think his speed was what the difference was for me, along with bigger waves. Now, that last wave, I mean, Cole ripped that wave vertical so hard. And I mean, spraying Gabby, more than anything, it's humiliation. Gabby must have been pissed off because that's probably never happened to him in a professional event. But I just I would hate to be a judge, and the thing that got us into this mess is that the waves are small. It's like a small
Yeah.
wave event. Imagine that heat is in 6 to 8 foot bells and
Mm.
cranking, and these two guys going head to head, which we started to see in the finals. That would have been amazing. I can't wait to see these two serve. I'd love to see them face each other at proper Margaret's. I mean, how incredible is that going to be?
Oh, I'd be sick. You know what? Cole's up and coming, but if the waves were bigger, I think Gabriel would have the edge
Mm,
9 times out of 10. Because he looked so good in that opening round.
he sure
But
did.
good on Cole. What a clutch moment for him.
Yeah,
Like
and went on to win. I mean, geez,
yes,
it's he served so well, and there were a couple heats there that were sad. I want to just mention these before I forget. Ethan Ewing's heat and John Florence, they had heats where they got one wave and couldn't get another wave,
yeah,
and it's heartbreaking to watch that when you're not getting waves, and the WSL's calling it on, and they're kind of pinched on this thing too. They have to make a decision, and often a bad one. They're going to get criticized for it. I mean, people are going to blow up. It's hard to be the WSL. It's it's hard to be a judge, but they're in that game. And I saw a comment I really liked here. I can't take the WSL as a serious sports league when they operate as more of a marketing company. Everything gets pushed like it's rainbows and unicorns. I mean, I'd say that's exactly right. Let's talk about what's going to happen to Gabby. He went out, and good on the WSL for sending Laura Eniver out there. And she just went right in hot and goes, what about that mistake? And the WSL would not have shown that under the Eric Logan regime. Like it would have been more puffery, but they put him in there and he went off. And the only thing that I'm concerned about is Gabby could get a fine. And I'm this kind of geek. T-Bone, I went into the WSL rule book to see what that thing, you can either go to sleep or get some useful information. It's very long. It's very legal. And here's what this says is there's a damage to surfing's image clause. And it says that you cannot say negative things about WSL management, WSL representatives, judges, tour and event sponsors, which Leo got in trouble for with the Apple Watch, and the monetary fines and potential suspensions, by the way. But the monetary fines, the rule ranges from $1,000 to $100,000, which is freaking gnarly. And I think I heard the rumor. I think I'd said it on another show was Leo got fined 10 grand. I think for that phone comment because it was a major sponsor. I don't know. And that could be just rumor. I'd love to confirm that. But
well, that was a fact, though. That was a fact. The watch didn't work for him.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean about the WSL is like they live in this world, this Wizard of Oz world, and you just can't do that, man. And be taken seriously, like our commenter said. I just saw another couple of comments. Let's put some of these up. Rio blasted that wave and was underscored. It should have been, wait a second. Shouldn't have been excellent score, no doubt. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Sorry if you've already covered it, just tuned in, but Gabby started complaining about the scoring. Can we put that comment back up, Heidi? Sorry if you already covered it. About the scoring, even though he didn't actually see Cole's wave. Yeah. What do you think about that, T-Bone?
Which one? Sorry, mate.
Well, what he said was, and this came up a lot in the 800 comments on the video. What he said was, hey, Gabby didn't even see his wave, and he's already putting together his comments and saying, I got ripped off. When he didn't see the front of the wave, he saw the back of the wave, and he saw the spray of the wave. I don't know. I think he saw the little wave coming at him. He goes, he can't get the score on that. And he forgets that this guy serves trestles.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think he maybe should have seen the wave first. I agree with the comment. But like I said, I watched that heat, and that wave was no smaller and no bigger that I thought than some of the other previous waves ridden. So once again, I thought him not taking off, that's the mistake.
I totally agree. And what happened on that wave is it looked really small, and then it seems like it kind of hit the shelf and got a little bit bigger, and then Cole just went off. I mean, those two turns were a savage. And the fact that he sprayed Gabby on it was savage. Crazy stuff. Do you think it was a personal attack on Gabe for the score? I think he's just in that position. I remember when I was a kid and I paddle out, and there's guys that would just spray my eyes, and I thought they were like aiming at me, and it would be like blind. But sometimes it's just luck. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm a little kook paddling out at New Smyrna Inlet and get sprayed right across the eyes. I remember Rich Murray, the fastest surfer I've ever seen, would go by me at like 30 miles an hour and just lay on the rail and spray me in my eye. And it's not even humiliating, but it would actually hurt. And I think that was just a bad timing thing with Gabriel Medina. Anyway, I could spend all day on this. If you guys want to put your comments up, please feel free to do so, but I think it's been beaten pretty hard. Let's read this one.
That's a bullshit rule. Take just remove that whole section 14.04.
Dude, it gets worse, man. There's some shit in there you have no idea. Like, you can't, the social media. I mean, these guys are trapped in a box. I think I'm going to read Aiden's comment. I think people throw around the robbed comment a lot, but regardless, if Cole should not have gotten the score, it was very close, which always happens in surf. It was not even close to robbery. And I have to say, like, you have your footy and we have our football, and these are sports that are played within lines that are not subjective, and there's controversy in those sports. So now you take that and put our subjective scoring on it, and of course we're gonna have this all the time. I'm probably gonna make more videos, and there's probably gonna be more comments, but this one to me was the closest thing I've seen in a long time, like where I had to watch it several times and go, I think Cole. And then I wake up the next morning, Medina's pretty fast. You know, I was like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna read this comment. Sometimes it's just that close. Sometimes it's not. Any sport with judges involved will always be objective, and humans make mistakes. Any sport with judges involved will always be subjective. Probably meant to say. Can you put that back up, Heidi? And humans make mistakes. Everyone has different preferences. Yeah, I think there's a taste factor there. And the last thing I am going to say, I forgot to say this. People were like, hey, why didn't you put the air? Why didn't you put the air that he did on the review? I just took the highest scores. Well, one, it was late and I was tired. But more importantly, I didn't think that it was that big a deal, because I thought he kind of pet the kitty on the way out. He was like, he fell down, and it was an amazing air. I mean, if you freeze frame it, the guy's upside down with his fins pointing at the stars, and he's flying in the air. It was a no-handed. It's like classic Gabriel Medina, you know, what he's been doing for 10 years, and it was just extended. It was beautiful. But the way he landed was awkward, and then he like kind of paddled out. And a 6.3, people were saying, oh, that should have been one of the highest scores. And I was like, it's a one-way maneuver on a small wave. I think 6.3 was pretty close to what it should have been.
Something I noticed on the commentary that they were making during the show more than ever was they kept talking about the flow between maneuvers. And maybe that's something that they were judging more heavily on. I mean, they really love Cole for that. Look at this flow between his maneuvers. Like, I don't know. I mean, we're listening to the announcers and not the judges. So maybe, you know, they're into different things. I don't know. But it just seemed like they were really obsessed with that. People were getting scored higher on their flow.
Yeah, we saw that a lot in the final Griffin was doing a good job with it. But in that heat, I noticed that on some waves, Gabriel Medina had that flow to me, you know, but I love Aussies calling it what it is, you know. Any thoughts on that, T-Bone?
Oh, I love the flow. Like I said before, I mean, the Brazilians have been winning world titles after world titles due to doing, you know, pump, pump, pump air rotations. Judges have had enough of it. Start showing some variety, start showing some flow. And that's what you know, Griffin and his brother, and you know, then you look at Ethan, and they're all got speed, power, and flow. So
yeah,
I'm all for that type of surfing. You know, just doing one maneuver, you know, doesn't, depending on the circumstances, but doesn't always get you the points if you do one big Hail Mary.
Well, that's pretty rich coming from an Aussie that had Molly do that at sunset. You're absolutely right. But
you know what, Dave, I actually didn't agree with that score either. But anyway,
oh, really?
That's just, yeah.
I kind of did. I think sometimes big maneuvers can count. Like when you do something so special, it should count. But yeah, just one maneuver links something together. I think that's so important. And this is not a diss on the Brazilians. They have those talents. They just have a different approach in some sections than others do. And I think if you stay well-rounded, you're gonna be right with the judges. And the judges now more than ever are printing out they're sending these copies out to people. Here's what we want to see. You know, Damn, dude, the comments are blowing up. Jesse says, can you put Jesse's up, Heidi? Gabe alluded that the whole year the judges have been bad. I'm sure he's getting frustrated, but it's on him to get on the right side of the judges, which is what we just talked about. Like, follow the piece of paper that he gets. And God, there's so many good comments. I want to go on because we'll get stuck on this. I was afraid we'll get stuck on this forever unless you had something else. T-Bone.
Oh, it's just it's a great discussion point, isn't it?
It sure is.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it the last time because we're old guys. I'm going to put you in that category. Sorry, T-Bone. I'm an old guy, and we grew up with power gouges and things like that, and longer boards, and I think Tom Carroll was that for us, and Tom Curran and those kind of guys doing those kind of turns. We just didn't have airs yet, so it's hard to say that. And yes, Skate Army, there is a new CEO. We're going to talk about him a little bit. Moving on to the next slide, we're back. So anything else at Bells before we continue on? I loved Katie's comeback in the last 20 seconds. It broke my heart for Joanne, but she is incredible, dude. I can't believe she got that wave and ripped it like that. No pressure. She is like, I think I called it cold-blooded. Like, it was incredible, dude.
Yeah, she's epic. Well, what a role she's having.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to find out who you pick in Tier A in just a moment. Other good comments. I don't even like Gabe. The truth is that one is obvious. Rio should have beat Griff. I don't know if I totally agree with that. I think Griff had a better heat, but that one wave he got ripped off. Katie Simmers is punk rock. Sorry, but there was no pump, but one off the lip in the air maneuver. So many, dude. It's going off, and I'm gonna keep moving.